Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going deep on how the accounting world is evolving.
Yeah, it's a big one, even if you don't spend your days in spreadsheets.
Absolutely. This stuff impacts all of us. And we've got a great source to unpack all of this.
Oh, yeah? What are we looking at?
A blog post by Gabriel Budino. He's a writer who dives into how tech is changing up different industry.
Interesting. Okay, I'm listening.
His post is called Di todo un poco, Transformación del rol del contador en la era digital, published February 13, 2025.
So pretty recent stuff.
Very recent, and it's got some really sharp observations on how the role of the accountant is changing.
Definitely important for anyone interested in the future of accounting then.
Exactly. Or the impact of tech on professions, or just, staying ahead of the curve in general.
Right, because things are changing fast. So what's Budinho saying?
Well, he jumps right in talking about how digitalization and globalization are like reshaping what it means to be an accountant.
Okay, makes sense. The world's more connected and more digital.
And he points out how clients now expect real-time financial insights and, data-driven advice, not just those old-school reports.
So it's not enough to just look back and say what happened?
No, accountants need to help businesses figure out why something happened and what it means for the future.
That's a big shift. How is that actually playing out, in the real world?
He gives some good examples. Take compliance, for instance. It's way more complex now.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
We're talking international regulations, stricter reporting standards, and more focus on transparency. Accountants are on the front lines of all that.
Wow, sounds like you need to be super tech savvy and globally aware just to keep up these days.
Totally. And on the tech side, Budinho mentions how AI and RPA are changing the game.
Right, AI, robotic process automation, those are huge.
Huge. They're taking over those repetitive tasks like data entry.
Stuff that used to take up so much time.
Exactly. So now accountants have more bandwidth to focus on, higher level stuff like analysis and decision making.
Makes sense. Work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. So it's not about technology replacing accountants. It's more like pushing them towards a strategic role.
Okay, interesting. So what skills should accountants be honing in on to, thrive in this new environment?
Great question. We'll definitely dive deeper into that later. But one thing Moutinho emphasizes is the importance of accountants as trust builders.
Trust builders. Not the first thing that comes to mind when I think accountant, I gotta say.
Right. But think about it. We've got all this financial data being generated by the Internet of Things, AI, big data.
Oh, yeah, data's everywhere these days.
Everywhere. And accountants need to understand these technologies and how they impact, accounting.
To make sure the info they're providing is, accurate and reliable.
Exactly. So they're like interpreters between the tech world and the need for trustworthy financial information.
Got it. And then you've got blockchain. That's like a whole other level of disruption.
Totally. It's inherently designed for data integrity and security. Like imagine every transaction recorded on this distributed ledger that's basically tamper-proof.
Whoa, that changes everything, right?
Totally. Like how does an auditor even work in that kind of system when trust is already built in?
Right. Mind-blowing stuff. It's definitely a whole new world out there. Yeah, it really does make you think. And it's not just a blockchain either. Budinho talks about all sorts of new risks for accountants in this digital age.
Makes sense. More tech, more potential problems, right?
Exactly. Like take financial statement certification and auditing.
Oh man, that's got to be so different now with all the data involved.
Totally different. You need some seriously powerful data analysis tools to catch anything fishy, prevent fraud.
Yeah, it seems like every other day there's a new data breach in the news.
It's a constant threat. Protecting financial information is absolutely critical for any organization these days.
For sure. So Bradinho is saying accountants are basically becoming digital detectives now, on top of everything else.
In a way, yeah. Uncovering hidden risks, making sure the data is reliable, he really stresses that.
Strong control environments, risk mitigation measures, all that.
Right. Accountants are key to building and maintaining those safeguards.
Okay, so we've got accountants as tech interpreters, digital detectives, and what else? Budino says they can actually use tech to become even more valuable to their organizations. How so?
It's about moving from reactive to proactive. Think about those financial information systems.
Yeah, the systems themselves are changing too, right?
Big time. They're not just for recording data anymore. They can do predictive analysis, help businesses see what's coming, make better decisions.
So accountants can use data to give businesses a glimpse into the future? That's wild.
Exactly. They can help companies understand their financial and operational data and use that to inform strategy.
Wow. Guide companies through digital transformation, help them stay competitive, all that.
Exactly. It totally reframes what it means to be an accountant. It's not just about keeping up with tech, it's about using tech to drive growth.
It sounds like that requires a whole new set of skills, though.
For sure. Budinho talks about the need for not just technical expertise, but also leadership abilities.
Leadership, that's not something you usually associate with accountants.
I know, right? But think about it. They're the ones guiding their organizations through this digital revolution.
Okay, I see what you mean. But what does leadership look like in this context?
Communication is key. Being able to explain complex technical stuff to people who aren't finance experts.
Right, because not everyone's fluent in data analytics.
Exactly. And advocating for change, building consensus within their organizations, that takes leadership.
So we've got tech-savvy leaders, risk managers, trust builders. Accountants are wearing a lot of hats these days.
They are. Budinia is definitely saying this isn't just about surviving in a changing world. It's about thriving.
I like that. So he sees tech as an opportunity for accountants to solidify their positions, become even more essential.
Exactly. By embracing technology, developing these new skills, they can add even more value through analysis, risk management, digital auditing.
And of course, by building that trust in financial information, which is so important in this digital age.
Absolutely. Trust is everything.
Wow. Budino's insights really paint a different picture of accounting than what most people probably imagine. It's not just about numbers anymore.
It's way more than that. It's about strategy, leadership, navigating this constantly changing technological landscape.
And even with all these changes, the human element is still so important.
Absolutely. Judgment, interpretation, communication, all those things are still crucial.
It's fascinating to think about how those human skills and technology will continue to intertwine and evolve.
For sure. And it makes you wonder what it all means for someone thinking about a career in accounting today.
That's the big question, right? How can aspiring accountants prepare for all of this? It's not just about learning the latest software, is it? No, definitely not. It's got to be much more than that.
Way more. It's about building like a solid foundation that lets you adapt as tech keeps changing.
Makes sense. So what should aspiring accountants be focusing on? Like, what are the must-have skills for the future?
Well, data analytics is definitely at the top of the list.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot today.
Right, because it's not enough to just record and report data anymore. Accountants need to be able to analyze it, pull out meaningful insights.
And then explain all that to, the non-data people.
Exactly. Communication is key. Data is like the new language of business, and accountants need to be fluent.
So how do you get fluent in data? Is it just like taking a bunch of courses?
Well, accounting education is definitely changing to reflect all of this. Universities are starting to include data analytics in their programs.
But it's probably not enough to just rely on what you learn in school, right?
No, definitely not. Aspiring accountants should be taking advantage of online courses, self-study resources, all that.
So it's a mix of formal education and taking the initiative to learn on your own.
Exactly. You got to be proactive. And then there's technology awareness.
Keeping up with all the new gadgets and gizmos.
Well, not exactly gadgets. It's more about understanding how technologies like AI, blockchain, cloud computing, cybersecurity, all that are impacting accounting and finance.
Okay, so you don't have to be a programmer, but you need to know how tech is changing the game.
Right. You need to be able to spot trends, see the potential of emerging technologies.
Figure out how to use those technologies to make things more efficient, more accurate, more secure.
Exactly. And tech changes so fast, adaptability is key.
You got to be comfortable learning new stuff all the time, right?
All the time. Embracing new tools, changing your approach as needed. It's about having that flexible mindset.
Always be learning, always be evolving. But we've talked a lot about tech. What about, the human side of things?
Oh, yes. The human element. That's crucial.
Because at the end of the day, it's still people making decisions, right?
Right. Technical skills are essential, but you also need strong communication and collaboration skills.
Yeah, you got to be able to explain all this complex stuff to people who aren't tech experts.
Exactly. Build relationships with colleagues, clients, regulators.
So it's a pretty well-rounded skill set. Technical expertise, adaptability, communication, collaboration.
It's a lot, but it's also an incredibly exciting time to be entering the accounting profession.
Lots of opportunity for those who are ready to embrace the change.
For sure. And that's really the key takeaway here, right? The future of accounting is less about number crunching and more about strategy, problem solving, driving innovation.
It's about being a leader, a risk manager, a technology expert, a guardian of financial information.
And all of those things wrapped up into one.
Wow. Well, for all you aspiring accountants out there, the message is clear. Embrace the digital revolution, hone your skills, and get ready to shape the future of this dynamic and evolving profession. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
It's been a pleasure exploring all this with you.